After the dust is settled on the Arizona Cardinals week 1 win in New Orleans, one thing shines supreme. The Arizona Cardinals got a real one in Will Johnson. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. 9th season hosting this show. 9th. And I don't remember a time where I've been more excited, not necessarily about everything, which I am supremely excited, but about the trajectory of a defense that the Arizona Cardinals have had. I am so excited to see not just this year, but next year, the year after. This is the baseline for what the next 5 years could look like with this Arizona Cardinals defense. And it started pretty damn well with a lot of moving pieces who had never played together before. This is the worst it'll be. It's actually funny because I mentioned this on the Cardinals Squad show, and it kind of infused into media day yesterday. I'll discuss that in the final segment. Monti Ossenfort's roadmap is built. I'll explain. But we're going to centralize this segment around Will Johnson and the impact that he could have if things continue the way they have. Excuse my voice. I've been fighting off something the last few days. This is the best it sounded, so I decided to go with it today. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Will Johnson, top 3 rated defender in week 1. Just over 90, Pro Football Focus grade. Now, my disclaimer for Pro Football Focus, it's a good barometer check. It's not the end-all, be-all. It's not the football Bible. It's nothing like that. But there are some very, 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 very smart people over there. So they do a lot of research. They pull the analytics for everybody. And you can kind of take it one of two ways. One, it can confirm anything that you want or discredit anything that you want as pertaining to production on the field of a football player. Or you can look at it for what it is. It is a valuable entity that acts as kind of just a gauge where you're in the vicinity of some sort of production. Okay. I use my eyeballs on Sunday and I saw a star in the making. It's week 1. It was Spencer Rattler. It was the New Orleans Saints. I understand. Okay. I don't know. Oh, well, I guess it's this. I've been thinking about what the opposite, the antithesis of an oh no moment for rookie would be. I mean, oh my God moment. And it's not Will Johnson did one thing specifically well. It's that he didn't do anything poorly and he did everything else excellently. It wasn't just a hit on Chris Olave, which shows that he likes to hit people. It wasn't just the interception where he ball hawked like a wide receiver that got called back because of a Max Melton push. He looked like a 5-year pro. And the thing that I'm having trouble with, because you know that if I struggle with things, I'll divulge, and it's not, struggling in the traditional sense. It's more struggling with thoughts and arguments and things like that, opinions. I never had an issue, and I'll talk about this in the next segment. I've never had an issue looking at Monti Ossenfort in a vacuum and not comparing to the last regime. I've never had an issue with that. And that's not talking bad about anybody. That's just, it's like, okay, new, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. All that matters is what Monti Ossenfort does. Okay. I'm having trouble doing that, comparing cornerback rooms of past to now. I'm having trouble because if this ceiling is as high as the early indicators would lend one to think it is, this could legitimately go down as the best DB room in the last 25 years. And that's not taking anything away from Adrian Wilson, Antrel Roll, Patrick Peterson, Antonio Cromartie. Like the best DB room that since I've been in Phoenix was Patrick Peterson, Antonio Cromartie, 2014? I mean, Tyrann Mathieu, obviously, but like there were injuries. There wasn't, it was top heavy. The rest of the defense wasn't set to be able to maximize Patrick Peterson in his prime. And they've had good defenses, okay? But look at this. And again, this is what I'm struggling with. Like, I know it's early, of course, but you know you've got Budda Baker, you know you got Jalen Thompson. And then the other guys, they're not even close to dead weight. They're nipping at the heels already. So when you it's like you know, I talked about this a couple of years ago, really. It's, you know, my dad always said, do good things will happen, do the right things. And, you know, it's not karmic. It's just, you know, put your head down, do your thing, and things tend to bounce your way when you need them. This is the Will Johnson bounce for the Cardinals. Monti Ossenfort took over. Jonathan Gannon took over. They just started doing things the right way, or what the dictionary definition of taking a team that was in the Mesozoic era and slowly and incrementally building to get them back to relevancy. And then you have what was looked to be a potential top 10 pick dropped you in the 40s. So on the field, 1 for 1. I think the scarier, the more demonic thing about this is you're going to hear me use the word demon a lot this year, because they used a lot of the demon DB set. People steal that from me. Just, you heard it here first. It's fine. With the 3 safety set with Adrian Taylor-Demerson on there and Garrett Williams playing on the outside. Like, if Max Melton played very well in the second half. He had little rust early, which is fine. But I'll tell you what, if Will Johnson's like, if Max Melton was never looked to be a first-round pick, okay, Max Melton has been good his rookie year and then 1 week in to his sophomore campaign. But if you're looking at me 6 weeks in and the best DB set is those 3 safeties, Garrett Williams and Will Johnson, both on the outside alongside each other with Adrian Taylor-Demerson, Budda, and Jalen Thompson, you're talking rewriting history stuff at its peak. And this stuff doesn't happen to the Cardinals. It happens to the Ravens always. It always happens to the Ravens. They always, and then the Eagles had guys drop like the Mitchell kid and the 2 corners from last year, Cooper DeJean. Like, things just fall into it. No, it's really going to bother me that I don't know his name. Things have just fallen. Jalen Carter, they jumped up, they leapfrogged, I think, Chicago to draft Jalen Carter a couple years ago. The Cardinals got an absolute gift in the second round. And Quinyon Mitchell, thank you. And again, it's very early. People have a tendency to, you know, over-expect after one game. I'm not saying Will Johnson's going to be a Pro Bowler this year, okay? I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler next year. What I'm saying is all signs, concrete signs, not this could be, this may be, let's see what happens. All concrete signs that we've seen so far are that Will Johnson is going to be special. And I'm holding 0 credence in preseason. Nobody else played. So, yeah, it's going to look bad when a lot of dudes who aren't playing on an NFL roster or who aren't starting for the Arizona Cardinals, now that they're playing, Will Johnson can just play his role. And what we saw through 1 week, irrespective of opponent, was pretty special and pretty exciting. And that's as far as ahead as I'm looking at it. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Monti Ossenfort, his roadmap is built. It's built. And I'll discuss in more grand terms what that could look like for the Cardinals next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items that, from the most trusted brands that Supply House carries. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you with your, projects moving forward. You don't have to punt on them while waiting for supplies, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Like, say you're working on a project on a home and you need a specific tool, specific, whatever it may be for that given job, and you don't have time to wait a week because you got to get the job done. Supply House has you covered, man. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFLS. SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by the friends over at Game Time. So here's the deal. I've used Game Time a lot for NFL games, for stand-up comedy shows, for concerts. Went and saw Green Day last year in Phoenix, got them through the Game Time app. And with the NFL season being back, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans. But getting tickets, let's be honest, can be a hassle between queues, login screens, prices, jumping at checkout. It's frustrating. And that's why I use and will always continue to use Game Time, the app that gives you advantage, back to the fans. Now, Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. They've got the view from your seat feature. If you don't know what the vantage point of a given section and row would be at a venue, click on it. They're like, oh, you know what? These tickets, that's in my price range. Let's see what my vantage point will be if I buy these tickets and sit in these seats. They give you a panoramic seat view, man. There's no guessing. You know exactly what your vantage point will be before you buy the tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. You know the drill. If you want to be a part of the Insider program from Locked On Cardinals, another way to interact with me, I've got a handful of subscribers already. One-on-one texting. There's going to be just some fun conversations throughout the year if you want to interact more than just in the comments and through Twitter DMs. The link to sign up is in the show description. I just want to be more available for people. Talk Cardinals. Have some fun. I see zero downside. So if you want to join it, the link is in the job description. Another thing that I don't see a downside for is Monti Ossenfort. Here's the thing. When you look at left tackle, wide receiver 1, cornerback 1, cornerback 2, cornerback 3, safety 2, you're looking at guys who are all drafted by Monti Ossenfort. The defensive front, Darius Robinson, still kind of TBD, but trading for Baron Browning, signing Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson, extending Yalta for Holt, extending James Conner, extending Budda Baker, extending Trey McBride. Monti Ossenfort's roadmap is set. He's done his job. And obviously, this is going to be ever evolving. But when you look at Paris, Marv, Garrett Williams, you've got pillars. Paris is going to get a big extension. Garrett Williams is going to get a big extension. It's a beautiful thing to be able to keep everything in-house. And the one thing I wonder is, for guys who are getting their second contract, especially Garrett Williams, because he was a third-round pick, if Monty's going to be able to play Monty ball with the contracts. But that's a conversation for another year, not now. What Monti Ossenfort has done over the last 3 off seasons is methodically drafted and then placed veterans in needs that they weren't drafted through. Terrible sentence. The roster is balanced. The roster is young in very key spots. And most importantly, the thing that I've been yearning for forever is stability and not having to, pay rent month to month, not having to worry about the next year. It's like, oh, let's worry about that then. Worry about winning now. Worry about that next year when all of the things are about to crumble. Sustainability. These players are going to be Arizona Cardinals for years and years. And while this sounds like a third grade level conversation, it's new. It's not something that we've grown accustomed to yet. Like being fans for forever, for 40 years, like I know that, the proof still needs to be there. This is not a Kyler Murray conversation right now, okay? Trust me, if it needs to be had, we'll have it. But looking what Monti Ossenfort has done, even though, okay, yes, so BJ Ojulari hasn't played. Darius Robinson is still TBD. Finding any player to make any impact after the second round has been foreign. Take away, David Johnson for 18 games or whatever he was good for. Now the Cardinals are able to draft with some sort of substance throughout the entirety of drafts. And look at Dante Stills. It's like, I think, and this is why I don't understand this, but a lot of Cardinals fans, Twitter and, in comments too, like, who you are, are demanding perfection from an organization that has been nothing but dysfunctional since its inception. No GM's going to hit on every single pick. And that's not an excuse to defend Monti Ossenfort. I think the improper expectations are irrational. What Monti Ossenfort has done has been nothing but wizard-like. Like, one of the key ones was, well, they should have just drafted Will Johnson at number 3. Like, okay, you can make that argument for sure. And also, who would be playing left tackle right now? And also, if Darius Robinson pans out, Darius Robinson came with that second first-round pick the Cardinals had the following season. So both teams won that trade. That was one of the more fair trades that the NFL has ever seen. So listen, by and large, not comparing Monti Ossenfort to anybody else, his roadmap for the Cardinals' sustained relevancy and success is in place. Now, you just need to add to it. But this foundation hasn't been nearly this strong since, 15 years of me being here in media. Definitely in the 9 years hosting this show, 9 seasons hosting this show. This is the best situation the Cardinals find themselves in to start a season. Yeah. Just Monti Ossenfort's roadmap. 3 full off seasons, 3 full cycles, and this is where we are. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. With that said, a couple players said something that I said on the Cardinals squad show Sunday night, and we'll talk about it. Yeah, this is the worst it'll be. Next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season's here, and FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Like, FanDuel takes care of you, man. If you're a new player, FanDuel, like if you're any player, but if you're a new player, listen to this. New customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You like single game parlays? You like betting futures on MVP? You like live betting? Like, what if, you put some cheese down on the Bills Sunday night with the crazy odds they end up coming back winning and cash out huge? FanDuel's got you covered for all of it. So are you ready to play? New customer. If you're a new customer, you can bet $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. So thanks for hanging out during the first instant reaction postcast. Reminder, I'm not going to, I'll probably do this for one more week, but reminder, immediately following every game, I will be going live here on YouTube for about 15 minutes, giving my instant reaction. Immediately following that will be me, Jamil Douglas, Ben Garcia, doing the Cardinals squad show for an hour, much more interactive, but you'll get an hour and 15 minutes at least of live content immediately following each game. So stick and stay with us this offseason, or this season, yikes. And yeah, it's going to be fun. So I mentioned on the Cardinal squad show this past Sunday night, like, regardless of what it looked like, regardless of, down the stretch, how close it got, the Cardinals got to win, and this is the worst it'll look all year. That's the worst they'll play. I really, really believe that. Everything was a little disjointed. Everybody was on the field together for the first time, especially on the defense. Everybody was rusty. Look across the landscape of the NFL. Look across the landscape of the NFL. I think I was watching something, and I think they said there were less than 5 games that hit the over on the total points. All the offenses look clunky, aside from the Jets and Steelers. Like, it wasn't great. And then, Indianapolis just, railroading the Dolphins. Yeah, this is the worst it'll be. And then both Calais Campbell and Budda Baker said that in some form or fashion. That's the worst we'll look. That's the worst we'll look. If they say it, I believe it. If they say it, I believe it. And there are signs to point to that. Like, the defensive front's going to be fascinating for me, including the edge rushers. Because what we saw on Sunday was Nick Rallis just throwing stuff. And I'm not saying he wasn't controlled and didn't understand exactly what he was doing, but there were a lot of different looks. There were a lot of different players on the field. They've got a lot of rotational pieces. It'll be fascinating to see what happens with Calais Campbell, what percentage snaps he's going to play throughout this year. Josh Sweat looked gassed at the end of the game, and he should have. They dropped back over 45 times, and he hadn't played a snap in an Arizona Cardinals uniform. And he played a lot better than what the numbers would indicate. He was in the backfield a lot. And the secondary played like the secondary played. Like, I'm imploring people, I'm begging people, you, to chalk that offensive performance up to rust. I know the leash is getting shorter and shorter. And then Kyler, like, I don't even talk about this. Kyler Murray apparently had a huge stomach bug going on all day. He went on, I think he was talking to his buddy or something. I don't remember who it was. I don't know who it was exactly, but he talked about, kind of spelled out what the morning looked like. and it wasn't pretty. And the reason why let's wait till next week kind of thing is they're playing Carolina at home. Jacksonville obliterated that defense this past week. It's the home opener. If the Cardinals offense can put up a 30 burger, everybody will just be like, okay, that's fine. Same. Those two cancel each other out, and then we can revisit this when the Cardinals go to San Francisco, who hopefully can field a roster because all of their players are hurt. When you hear players come out and say, oh, yeah, we're good. That's the worst it'll be. That's one of those things where it's like there's this kind of abstract thing that I've thought for my entire life when it comes to sports. But it's like, you wish you heard from players like real human things that it's coach speak or player speak or cliches or things like that. But it's like full disclosure, divulging exactly what they're thinking. And I'm sure, players do it, but it's like hearing that, I was like, oh my God, whoa. Well, that's refreshing. Clay's like, oh yeah, that's the worst of the luck. Buda Baker, oh yeah, that's the worst of the luck. It's like, cool. I take that. You take that over something a coach would say like that. It's like these guys have been in the lab together. They know what the great looks like. And if that, giving them, I don't care who's on the other side of the field. They get 13 points. And 7 of it was early. Like, this is the former NBC, The More You Know, after school special with the shooting stars. Let's not shoot for perfect. Let's shoot for the best version of this team. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.